Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The Norskins are out for blood, as there will be plenty to spill upon these accursed swamplands. We have Norsca versus the Empire today, as we have myself will be leading the Norscan horde, and Way will be commanding the Empire. So for the Norscan forces, we do have Marauders for the front line, and we will have 5 in total with the Icehorn Marauders as well with their perfect vigor. We do have a pair of Marauder Berserkers as well to really help chew through that front line as quickly as possible to get into those backline troops of the Empire. And we do have a pair of Skinwolves, both of which being the Armored Skinwolves, one of which is the Maws of Savagery, the ROR variant of that. These will provide a little bit of extra mass, anti-large, and a little bit of extra stopping power for those larger targets. We do have Wulfrik the Wanderer going to be rocking it on his Mammoth, and he is going to be bringing Foe Seeker, Fight or Die, as well as Seafang, and of course Hunter of Champions. We also do have a Skinwolf, or a Skinwolf Werekin, and the Skinwolf Werekin is going to be bringing his Ruinous Flesh, which provides a little bit of extra missile resist and armor to all units in a 30-meter radius, which is a very nice kind of help withstand potentially any kiting that the Empire can do, or just a little bit of extra armor never hurts. We also do have the Fimir Balefiend of Shadows for the spellcasting, and Fimir is going to be bringing Enfeebling Foe, the Pendulum, as well as the Withering to get a little bit of reduction in armor and leadership, and cast at the right time can really do a nice little swing in any engagement, provide maybe a little bit of extra push to get things to rout, or just a little bit of extra damage going their way. We also do have some Norscan Warhounds vanguarded into the forest, looking to spring a little trap onto some unsuspecting Empire forces. But for the Empire, they have brought kind of a front line of, so we have some spearmen on the flanks, but the center ranks is going to be Sigmar's Sons and the Tattered Souls. So a very nice front line that is going to be unbreakable, especially in the core, to kind of just hold back the Norskins for as long as possible, as they will fight to the last man, and the Tattered Souls themselves will do a lot of damage themselves. And they will be just trying to keep things back to allow these Free Company Militia to get as many shots in as they can. I mean, it's not going to be as much damage going as maybe some handgunners would potentially do, but a little bit of extra firepower will help, especially against targets such as Wulfrik or the Skinwolves. For the Lord, we do have Karl Franz in the skies, and he's going to be bringing Galmaraz and the Reichling Runefang. We do also have a Jade Wizard as well up on his Pegasus, going to be bringing Earthblood and Regrowth. Both of those spells very nice, especially considering what the Empire has brought. Regrowth is very nice for Karl Franz, and we have Earthblood for the Cavalry, which is going to be a pair of Demigryph Knights, one of which is the Royal Altdorf Griffites, which do terror and cause fear, and they will be supported by a pair of Knights the Blazing Sun, which are pretty much a staple pick in this matchup. The Knights of Blazing Sun, with their fire damage, will do excellent work against Skinwolves and are pretty much a hard counter. Skinwolves can do okay as long as they're able to get the charge, but if the Knights of Blazing Sun get the charge off on the Skinwolves, they will go down very, very quickly. But these are our armies, so let's get things going, as both armies are going to try and reposition themselves as they do engage. All of this land here is going to be swampland, so units will get a penalty if they are fighting in it. So Norscan's going to be trying and push up the hill a little bit, trying to get to the dry ground as well as the high ground here. And the Empire is going to be shadowing their movements a little bit as they do both move over, trying to get into this nice open area to engage one another. Now the Norscan Warhounds on the far side are going to be kind of starting to swing on over, as the engagement is going to be too far away for them to really provide any surprise. However, these other units in the tree line are quickly going to be spotted here, as these Knights of the Blazing Sun are slowly getting closer and closer, and they are going to be spotted now, and they will pull out as their little ambush has been foiled. But both armies getting a little bit closer now, both sides up onto this nice dry ground, so no penalties for either side in this engagement by the looks of things. as both armies are just going to kind of square off on one another. Norskins starting to move into range of these Free Company militia as the first shots do open fire, and Wulfrik does kind of pull back, doesn't want to be taking any shots on that approach if he can help it. But these front lines are going to be engaging. Norskins getting the kind of getting a charge off, I suppose, into these the rest of the Empire State troops here, and it's going to have a, looks like a pendulum going to be going down, right arcing through these Tattered Souls as they do try and dodge it, but they take a ton of damage from that cast, going down to 50% health so quickly. And here is that little charge from the Norscan Warhounds getting into that back line, as we do have another Sea Fang going to be going right on through these unbreakable units, trying to do as much damage as possible. Not going to be going through any of these spearmen, but just trying to break the unbreakable troops as quickly as possible, kill them as fast as they can. The Norscan Warhounds in the backline have been caught out as the Knights of Blazing Sun are now bearing down on top of these Skinwolves, and the Skinwolves quickly are going to try and push through the Empire lines to avoid the charge of the Knights of Blazing Sun as quickly as can, but the Knights of Blazing Sun do get a little bit of a rear charge. So far, the Skinwolves really haven't taken much damage from that. They are starting to take a little bit of chips here and there, but Wulfrik the Wanderer is engaging with Karl Franz at this point, as the Jade Wizard is going to be providing a little bit of extra assistance. Now, the Reichling Runefang is popped, but so is Hunter of Champions and the Enfeebling Foe. So Wulfrik is taking a lot of damage right now, but now he's starting to dish it back to Wulfrik, and it looks like we do have a healing, probably a regrowth, going to be going down on top of Karl Franz, and that is indeed, and it is the Overcasted, so he's going to be getting 2,000 HP back, so that is going to put him right back up to full health right now. However, the Free Company militia have been compromised right now, as the Norscan Warhounds are going to try and look to heal off anything that they can. Another pendulum going to be arcing right on through, taking those spearmen down, pretty much down to nothing. But Wulfrik has taken a ton of damage in this engagement, as Karl Franz was able to get healed up. Another Earthblood going down, healing up the Demigryph Knights, as the Demigryph Knights are also supporting this engagement here, as Wulfrik is in a very bad spot, as he's taken so much damage, as the Norskins are just trying to screen out these units as best they can. Even the Skinwolf Werekin taking a bunch of damage. Fight or Die giving them a little bit of extra leadership and melee attack, while Karl Franz once again diving down on top of Wulfrik the Wanderer. Again, another Enfeebling Foe does go down, but Gal Maraz is popped, giving a bonus versus large and armor piercing, and Wulfrik the Wanderer is on danger low right now. He is wavering, gets a Sea Fang off just as he routes. A little desperate call, but there is still a ton of infantry left for the Norskins, as they have quickly decimated the Empire State troops. However, with the loss of Wulfrik, that is going to be quite a painful thing indeed, as there isn't a whole lot left that can deal with Karl Franz, who is still at full health. However, on the plus side for Norsca, a lot of even the Demigryph Knights have taken quite a bit of damage, and a lot of the spellcasting has gone the way of Karl Franz with the Overcasted Regrowth and the Earthbloods. However, the Knights of Blazing Sun are going to be being pushed off here, while the Skin Wolves are still sitting pretty, and they will have regen, so they will be able to get a lot of that health back as long as they haven't lost too many models. So they're still at 12 and 15. But Karl Franz is hunting them down, as is these Demigryph Knights. Now, the Demigryph Knights should do fairly well against the Skinwolves. The Skinwolves will be able to dish back some damage in return, but that damage is going to be sore, as they will be able to start peeling models off one at a time. And even the Free Company militia has come back at this point, but this massive infantry is just slowly whittling down these Demigryph Knights, as well as the remaining spearmen. And Wulfrik the Wanderer is back in action. If we take a look, he still has 1,000 HP, so that is still a considerable amount, but he is going to be wavering. So a single charge, even by maybe the Jade Wizard, might be enough, and the shots are starting to rain in from the Free Company militia, trying to break the big giant. However, the Free Company militia does get compromised by these Norscan Warhounds just in the nick of time, saving Wulfrik in that late game. But a lot of these core units are starting to rout here and there, as the Demigryph Knights are going to be breaking down one by one. We do have the Marauder Berserkers reaching their final tier, going berserk in the process, but they have a nice little buff to their melee and all of their combat stats. Now, Karl Franz, though, looking to kind of finish things off, though, as the balance power is a little bit in Norskin's favor, but still Karl Franz is a world beater, and he is sitting nice and pretty at full health, while Wulfrik the Wanderer is on slivers of HP. But the Demigryph Knights have been shattered, as all of these units are just quickly collapsing upon the Knights of the Blazing Sun, and it is only a matter of time before they too drop in this late game, as I don't even know if Karl Franz is going to be able to handle just the massive infantry that is left, and Wulfrik the Ladder just wisely trying to stay out of the engagement. Bowseeker trying to get some vigor back and a little bit of speed as well, as the Jade Wizard trying to break Wulfrik the Wanderer, who is only at 949 health, and the Jade Wizard might be enough to do that. But here are the Norscan Warhounds, and Hunter of Champions is popped though on the Jade Wizard, as Wulfrik does turn and fight, and now that that Jade Wizard is surrounded, and in come the Skinwolf Werekin as well, so that Jade Wizard probably biting off a little bit more than he can chew, trying as he can to try and break the beast, but it does not look like the Wulfrik will go down, as the Jade Wizard routes instead, and now it is just down to Karl Franz against just the horde of Norskins, and there is just a mass of Norscan infantry here, with some of them just kind of staying off on the periphery, waiting for their time, but Karl Franz will rout in the end, and that will be our match. So taking a look at the after battle report, Karl Franz did a number onto Wulfrik early on in that battle. While the initial engagement did go fairly well for Wulfrik, doing some good damage onto Karl Franz, those regrowths just absolutely turned the tide of that battle, as well as Galmaraz and the Reichling Runefang. And Wei did a good job there, because he popped Reichling Runefang initially, but held off on Galmaraz until after Hunter of Champions wore off. Because once the Hunter of Champions wore off, he got back on top of Wulfrik and then popped Galmaraz at that point, giving him that extra burst damage to rout him off early in the match. Had Karl Franz disengaged at that point and just chased Wulfrik down, it potentially could have swayed things a little bit more, having the Norskins lose their leadership so early on. However, he was able to stabilize, and I think it was just the mass of infantry was able to overwhelm the Empire here, as they quickly broke down the Spearmen and the Tattered Souls and Sigmar's Sons, both of which the Unbreakable units were the target of the Pendulum as well as the Seafang, just trying to kill them off as quickly as possible, because once they were gone, there was nothing to really support the cavalry, as, I mean, the Demigryph Knights and the Knights of Blazing Sun are very expensive, so a lot of funds were invested in these units, and they do very well at dealing with like Skinwolves, Mammoths, any of the large targets. But when it comes down to the infantry fights, they don't do quite as well to really finish them off, and I think that was really the kind of the crux of the Empire build. There just wasn't enough infantry support, especially in the late game, to allow the Knights of the Blazing Sun and the Demigryph Knights to really do their magic. I think that was kind of one of the big faults of the Empire army here, but otherwise it was a very fun match, very close one indeed, and I do hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.